Hey guys, Creator Mom, just sitting out here in the morning pondering. It's like 7 a.m. and it's still kind of dark, but it's getting light out. And I was thinking about how, like, somehow when I was young, I somehow internally knew that, I don't know, like, the least that I could have was choosing my relationships. Casey. I don't know, I feel like I had really dark spots in my childhood, and it's crazy because what I experienced, you know, when I was around 9, 10, 11, that seems to be like a core age. I feel like maybe it's a good age to really remember stuff from. You know, you're like preteen. Anyways, the experience I had with the person who, you know, how do I say this? Because I don't want to say the M word, but who, you know, was improper towards me in a sexual manner. An older cousin. He was really dark, and I don't know, and it's crazy because I cannot remember anything this guy ever said to me, but I just remember a very, like, dark, negative vibe, but I can't remember any words that he said. But I just remember it being, like, scary, you know, and kind of left this kind of, like, dark imprint in my mind. Not in my whole mind, you know, somewhere in my mind. And yesterday, no, not yesterday, the day before yesterday, I had this thought, and it was like, whoa, this bird just came, almost like got real close to me. Sorry if I seem distracted. I was watching my dog grazing here. Anyways, yeah, this thought came to me, and it was like, it felt so, it was like a scary thought. It was like a thought telling me that something bad was going to happen to me, or, you know, kind of bad. And but it felt so like authoritative. It felt like God in a way, but I knew it wasn't God, because there was no love on it. There was no inspiration or excitement. Yeah, there basically was no love on it. There was no joy on it. And I was like, there's no way in hell, that this is a godly thought from goodness. There's just no way. Like, it feels dark, you know? So maybe some people call it the devil, or demon, you know what I'm saying? Trying to, like, give you bad thoughts or prophesy something bad in your life. And then I was like, I was gonna try to be quick to brush it away. I didn't even know I was gonna start talking about this, actually, when I put the camera on. I was gonna talk about something completely different, but I was just gonna try to brush the thought away, but it came with such an attachment of an emotion. It wasn't just one of those thoughts that just fly by. It was one of those thoughts that kind of stop you in your fucking tracks, and you're like, holy crap. You're like, no, why? What is this thought? Is this true? You know, it did seem like demonic, if you will, like, in a way, you know. I was like, oh God, what do I do with this? And with the things I'm learning now, I'm like, I don't want to fight it, because I understand that fighting and pushing it away and saying, no, devil, that's not gonna happen to me, you know, that's only a cause to put more resistance and energy into it. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I know that's not the correct approach, because it's going to come back if I do that. I'm like, Mike Popovich says, when you have a scary emotion or negative emotion, or this, for my instance, this negative, quote unquote negative thought that is attached to this really dark emotion, acknowledge it. Let it come. Invite it even. So I began to say, you know what thought? And I named the thought. I said it out loud, because sometimes when you have bad thoughts, you're like afraid to say it out loud. Like, you're like, oh my God, it fucking makes you shiver. You're like, no, I don't want to say that. That's scary. But I said it, you know, out loud. And I said, I bring you into love. I'm not afraid of you. I bring you into the light. I love you. Like, you can stay for however long you want. I know it's just trying to shit that Mike Popovich said to say. And I'm like, it sounds good, you know, like, I just bring you into love, because perfect love casts out all fear, right? Love dissolves. And, you know, I was like sitting in that emotion and everything. And then I realized something. I was like, this is a familiar thought, like a familiar, like, feeling. Like, this that has come with negative thoughts throughout my life, sporadically, for different things. And I was like, I feel like I traced back to the root of it. And it went back to this time in my life with this dude who molested me, you know? He didn't just molest me. There was something else to it. He used to, like, I think he did used to believe in, like, demonic stuff. And, like, I remember he had that, you know, the satanic star and stuff like that. I do remember that. Like, that is imprinted in my mind. So he must have been showing me some shit about something like that. That probably frightened me as a child. When I followed the thread of this thought I was having, and it wasn't that I had this specific thought before, it was it was the emotion and, like, the voice, if you will, behind the thought that had told me different things, or gave me different fears throughout my life. It was like a thread, and it led back to this time in my life with this dude. So, and then it came back to me, the first thing I was afraid of around that age, 10 or 11. And it was about being pregnant. And I was that young. I didn't know, obviously, that about sex and stuff like that yet, and how you become pregnant. And I just thought had this fear about pregnancy. And of course, now, if I would have had somebody to talk to about this, they could have been like, oh no, like, that's horrible that happened to you, but don't worry, like, you would never be pregnant because he didn't rape you. Like, you know, that's not how pregnancy happens. But it was like that same emotion, that same voice, that same darkness behind that thought of, like, oh, you're pregnant or something like that, that was behind this thought that I was getting. And it, like I said, it had showed up in different times in my life. So yeah, that was very interesting to realize that it was connected to this, like I said, to the same thread. And I knew that I hit something when this was brought to my attention, because I started to cry. But it was a healing cry. It was different. It was a good cry. It was like like, it was, I can't explain it. It was a refreshing cry. It was healing. Like, that's the only way I could describe it. It was a healing cry. And actually, I think I discovered it first, and then I went on to tell my friend about it. I'm like, she's gonna think I'm crazy, but I knew she wouldn't really think I was crazy. The mind can be very interesting, guys, you know? And so yeah, I went on to tell my friend about what I was experiencing. And then when I was telling her about it, I started to cry, that healing cry. And I knew, I was like, I'm hitting on something here. So yeah, I don't even know why I said all that and specifically, but this was definitely a very interesting psychological, emotional experience. And after that thought really, I don't know, it doesn't, like, when I think about it, it doesn't really hold that much power. And so yeah. And yeah, it doesn't hold that much power and anymore. It's just like, whatever. I'm kind of like, well, who cares? Like, if something happens like that, it all works out for my good anyways. It's not holding that power over me anymore. Sorry, my nose. Yeah. So I guess if you have one of those scary types of thoughts, it feels different. It's not just one of those passing thoughts that you could just, like, disregard and then it goes away. It's like wants to stick. It feels really, like, bad. Bring it into the light, you know, confront it, bring it into love, and see where it traces where you can trace it back to.